Welcome to Rainy Day Foods, Einkorn Wheat. Einkorn wheat is known as an ancient grain. It is a whole wheat with a simple gluten structure and a low glycemic index, making it an appealing option for those with gluten sensitivities. Not only can you grind it to use in your baked goods, but you can use it as an option to use in pilafs, risottos, soups, and salads. And it's a great base for grain bowls too. Today we will be grinding this wheat in the Wonder Mill, which we typically have available on our website. It's great for so many different items. It doesn't grind everything though, so you definitely want to check that out. Make sure that you turn it on before filling it and that you secure it with your hand before you turn it on because it does like to jump. Once it is on, you can go ahead and pour in your grain. It wasn't going through very quickly, and that's because it was on a really fine setting, so I did go ahead and make it a little less fine. Now you can see the difference of it going through faster. I probably had about 2.5 to 3 cups of wheat berries. Make sure you turn off your machine before disconnecting the flour canister. It does sometimes get a little messy. No worries. Once you open this, you can kind of see how fine this flour is. It's actually really pleasant. You can't really see like all of the whole grain aspect of this flour. It is there, but really it really resembles all-purpose flour. It does not cook that way though. I did have to use a little extra all-purpose flour in this recipe today, but for the most part it is the Einkorn whole grain ground flour that you saw at the beginning of the video. So here in my flour mixture I am putting 4.5 cups einkorn flour, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and then just quickly stir this up. This will be your dry ingredient mixture, and you will set it aside. In this particular recipe, we will use 1 cup of Crisco and 1 cup of butter. The reason for that is just how it mixes up with everything else and how it bakes later. You're going to need 1.5 cups of white sugar, 1.5 cups packed brown sugar, and then you are going to cream these together until light and fluffy. Should be pretty smooth. It shouldn't have any clumps in it. And it definitely starts out that way, so make sure you give it enough time. Then you're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And in my mixer, it gets stuck sometimes, so scrape often. And then we will add our eggs after everything is fully incorporated. You're going to need 4 eggs, and just mix until it is fully incorporated. Definitely a good idea to scrape often. And then slowly incorporate your flour in. You want to do this as quickly as you can because you don't want the dough to overmix. Einkorn is a great option for cookies because of it being a soft wheat berry. So a note to take with einkorn flour is that it absorbs the liquid differently. So you usually reduce the liquid amount in your recipes. So the way to handle it in a cookie dough recipe is to either reduce the liquid by 15 to 20%, or you can increase the flour amount. And in this particular recipe, I decided to add extra flour. It is a sticky dough, but you'll know when it's right when the texture is as such as you can grab it and it's not going to stick to your fingers. It will start to pull away from the bowl as well. Another thing that can help is actually chilling the dough. If it can sit for a little bit to absorb some of that extra water, then you're less likely to have such a sticky issue going on, and it helps solidify the fats that you use as a binder. In this particular recipe, it's actually doubled, so I did use 2 bags of chocolate chips. I let it chill, and then after it's chilled, probably for about an hour, then I go ahead and shape those cookies. They will look puffed up after they come out of the oven, but they always kind of deflate. And you get a lovely brown on the bottom and a nice chewy cookie. If you want to adjust the amount of flour, you can end up getting something with a little more body, a thicker cookie, or less flour will give you the opposite, a thinner, probably more crispy cookie. You definitely want to pay attention when using einkorn. It is known that they can cook a little bit faster with that type of flour in it. So you definitely don't want to burn the einkorn. If you are gluten intolerant, you cannot use this as another option for wheat because it is still wheat. But people with gluten sensitivities tend to deal better with this particular wheat, and that's why it's become popular. Remember to check out www.rainydayfoods.com for this wheat berry and many other varieties. And always remember that food storage is for every day, not just rainy days. Thank you.